What's up, everybody? How you doing? I'm Mike Watson. I'm coming live from my studio in the basement of Columbus, Ohio, in the building with a brand new episode of Chat and Draw. Because here we are. Like this is the third episode this week. Normally, we did one yesterday, had a special episode, and then we got one today, and then we did one Monday, and we got Ages of Nerdy tomorrow. Man, every time I try to shed some stuff to try to lighten the load and dive into some other stuff, I pick up weight and those things that I try to lighten the load with or redone. And I can't say no. I just can't say no. The production and working on the show is super awesome, and you can't be mad that people want to be on your show. You can't be mad at that at all. So I'm just gonna have to find a way to juggle it. That's what these last couple weeks have been about. I think like what was a little bit before Thanksgiving, I had some time where it wasn't too heavy. Didn't have any commissions. I was easily able to knock out Hot Shot or whatnot. But now I've picked up a few commission gigs, and we got Hot Shot 11 that is in production right now, and the list has picked up for people being on the show, and and we're coming up on. I couldn't believe it. I had to go back to my YouTube page and count, but we're about to hit 100 episodes, like 100 episodes of Chat and Draw. Like that's crazy to me right now. Like I'm looking at that number like that's a lot of content. You know what I'm saying? That's a lot of content, and we're on this show at minimum 55 minutes. At minimum, we are on this show 55 minutes. Other times we've been on the show for 6 damn hours. Like crazy. But I just wanted to host spill just because I got, so much going on and my head's here and there. But you're probably like, well, what is even this thing? What is Chat and Draw? Well, Chat and Draw is a show where I sit across the virtual art table for one of my friends or colleagues, and I sit down and I draw one of their characters or a comic from their fandom or whatnot, and we discuss those things, and we generally tend to drift off into some geekdom conversation. It happens. We're fellow geeks here, and we like to get that in. That's what brought us to this whole world of making comics, right? But then you're like, well, what justifies you for even doing this, buddy? You see this? Look at that FSK. I'm the founder of that, baby. Not only am I a client, but I'm a participant, and I run it. I own it. That type of thing. I'm the publisher of Short Fuse Media Group. I'm 1/3 of the agents of the nerdy. I am the most enthusiastic person in comics. Hey, aka going by the super moniker of Superman Brother. So I'd say I got a pretty okay resume to justify to be doing this, and your characters are in good hands, I would say. So, we've done a lot. We've done Kickstarter episodes, we've done T-shirt episodes, we've done Photoshop episodes, and I just love that the show continues to grow and become an avenue where people can kick it and promote their stuff. And without further ado, we're going to continue with that whole promoting atmosphere. Where is it?
Here comes a new challenger!
What's up, Marcus?
What's going on, Mike? How are you doing, man?
I'm doing fine, man. How are you?
I cannot complain, man. I'm glad to be here and equally impressed about that number of shows. I mean, that is impressive. That is very impressive. Congratulations to you. If I had a hat on, I'd tip my hat to you.
Well, thank you very much, man. I appreciate it very much. So, it hasn't seemed like a lot of work or whatnot, but it has been like probably because I enjoy doing it so much. But once we hit this 100 mark threshold, 100 more soon to come. So it's very much appreciated. Andy says, you know who you should have on the show for episode 100? Not me. I would completely ruin it. Where's Sean Mack at? He needs to be at 100. Well, yeah, Sean Mack's definitely. He doesn't know it, but he's on it. Yeah,
Sean, I think that goes without saying.
Sean is definitely on the roster for the 100th episode. I kind of have no idea what is going to be composed in that episode yet. It just has to be something big. I don't know.
I think for that episode, it will be renamed the Sean Mack Show.
Hey, probably he does tend to come in the room and take it over and lay down that Sean Mack law. All right, so Marcus. Oh wait, one last thing before we really get cracking. I want to shout out my Patreon members. Shout out to Andrew Duggan, Haley Dennis, Bradley Arney, Kyron Silva, Tom Kelly, and Unlikely Hero Studios for being a part of the Patreon. Without you guys, I would not have a Patreon. And more of you should sign up for my Patreon. And also sign up for my Twitch because I've just become an affiliate this week and I could take subscriptions and I got a couple subscribers yesterday. If you want to help and support me, Twitch would be a great way to do it. And if you have an Amazon Prime account, you can use your Amazon Prime account for free to subscribe to me. So you should do that. I am Most Epic Art on Twitch. Go look for me. Go find your boy. Awesome.
You're
Yeah.
everywhere, man.
I'm trying to be. J-Man says, damn, 100 episodes I've watched. Yeah, well, not yet. You have technically watched, this is like the 89th, 88th episode or whatnot. So, yeah, you've watched all those.
I'm just glad to be in the number, man.
Hey.
Just glad to be in the number.
And let's go ahead and talk about how you're in the number here. You got this thing, this book here called The Protector.
Yes,
Second
sir.
Sight Publishing. Talk to us about it.
The Protector is like my brainchild. I've had this 50-year love affair with comic books.
Okay.
And reading various genres, different styles of books. I always had an idea of a character that wasn't so much a world changer or universe changer, but was dedicated to one place, and his whole thing is making sure that one place is safe. So that idea just kept ringing through my head, and eventually it came into being 50 years later into The Protector.
50 years later?
50 years later, yeah. I am what's called a generational comic book reader. My father introduced me to comic books when I was a kid. Comic books was what I learned how to read from, and like my family can even tell you now, that I carried comic books with me everywhere I went. So, just in all those years of reading, and it eventually turned into a passion, and from that passion, joining the World of Black Heroes, and that was like 9 years ago. And I appreciate Ryan Frazier for taking me on as an apprentice of sorts, and just being able to get involved with the comic book community. It just kept that passion there. And then talking to independent creators such as yourself, over the years, I've interviewed and talked to all kind of independent creators on many different levels, and just watching their progression, seeing their passion, just like with my passion. And I said, you know what? I'm gonna do this. I am going to do me a comic book.
I'm gonna do me a comic book.
I'm gonna do me a comic book. So, yep. So, yeah, at the age of 53, I published The Protector, this first issue. Published it through Advent Comics, and I want to shout out Tony Cottrell, because Tony told me, look, man, if you do a comic book, I will publish it. So I had to make sure I did something that was worthy of publishing. And I was able to do that. The Protector, the first issue, was able to garner the Rising Star nomination from the Glyph Comic Awards in 2019. So I kind of felt like I had something there.
So we're talking about a nominated title.
Yes, sir, a nominated title. And I was really humbled by that, because with the World of Black Heroes, we would often publish lists of comic books to read for the upcoming year. So we're, going from suggesting comic books that we felt like might get nominated to actually having a comic book that's nominated. That's like the biggest thing for me. I don't think personally anything could top that, because I have so much respect and reverence for the Black comic book community, and that having collected comic books for as long as I have, to see it being as strong as it is in 2020, it gives me inspiration and hope.
Mm-hmm.
And not just with the Black comic book community, but the comic book community in general, as a
Right.
whole, as independent comic book creators, whether we're Black, white, or whatever. We have the same struggles. We go through the same thing. We have the same goals, and we actually have the same approaches to achieving those goals. So,
Mm-hmm.
we all are kindred in that manner.
Kendrick would be right. It's a hard road for the indie publisher, the creative trying to make a comic book out here. Can you talk to us about like where this character really came from with you, and the decision to create him, and is he inspired by anybody specific or just something completely from your imagination?
Well, it's partly from my imagination and partly from 3-4 years ago. I'm an administrator with ICC Anthologies,
Mm-hmm.
and we did this challenge to come up with a mythology, to
Mm-hmm.
create a mythological character. So I had always had the notion of a character that would be a protector. So it was just fleshing them out. And that's where my first artist came in, Meku Tellis. She read the description from what I wrote, and I mean, she just took off. Here's a little known fact. She actually patterned the design of the protector after Idris Elba. She said that was a favorite character, and she had the opportunity to bring him to life through my character, through the description that I gave her. And she did an awesome job. This actually was her first ever comic book. Never done a comic book before. So she and I coming in as neophytes, and then to have the book nominated for an award, we were both over the top about that.
Okay.
But like with anything else, it's not what did you do, is what have you done lately?
Mm-hmm.
So that's where this next issue of The Protector comes in. The story itself is what I guess you could call in continuity with the first one, but the story is a standalone story because the Protector, as I said, is dedicated to this now big metropolis called Answa. So he and the deity who has always been over the city, the Earth Mother, they do their part to keep the city safe.
Mm-hmm.
And in this issue, we find out a little of the history of Answa, in that they had Viking visitors way before it was actually reported or recorded in history.
Okay.
So this story tells about the Viking visitors that came in 400 AD to one of the towns that eventually grew into the city of Answa.
All right. We got LaShawn says, "What's up? Sorry that she's late."
Hi, LaShawn. How you doing? Congratulations on getting your Kickstarter funded. As well as everyone else, this has been a project that you've been working on for years, and to see it come into fruition the way it has, we're proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud of everything that you're doing. You keep up the good work.
Andy says he's been promoting Protector over on Twitter.
Well, thank you, Andy. I appreciate it.
Yes, Christina is feeling better, Jay. She should be on this week's episode. She's got class, and it ends right at 9, so she should be jumping in the middle of the show while we got it going on. So she should be there this week, and happy to hear that that you're concerned for her. J-Man also comes in and says that you have a voice that can narrate a cartoon show. Voice or character.
Well, thank you, Jay, man. When the Protector goes animated, I'm gonna make sure I audition for a voice part.
Also, Paige says you are the indie comics Barry White.
Alfred Page. Now, Alfred is one of my fellow Florida Connection people. We have a very strong group of independent creators here in the state of Florida. We have so many cons that we see each other sometimes 3 or 4 times a month at these cons.
Oh,
And
okay.
we really, really have a strong support system down here. So I want to shout out the Florida Connection. You all know who you are. And I hope to see you all December 12th in Kissimmee at the Infinity Toy Con. More about that later.
Okay. All right. And LaShawn says, thanks, Marcus. You were one of the first Facebook friends back when I was promoting and drawing my girls. Time sure does fly.
It sure does. And I'm glad that I have stuck with it just like you stuck with it to see it come to fruition. Like I said, I'm proud of you. Congratulations, and I'm looking forward to holding this book in my hand.
Yeah, you're at $2,342 with 72 days. 7 days left to go.
Yeah.
You need 3,500 in total to make this project come to life. Yes,
and I am confident that it's going to fund. I'm confident. Sometimes you can reach the finish line in a short period of time, and sometimes you just have to make it. Yeah. So I just have to make it. We all can't be like my friend Sebastian. I said in a post, even Santa Claus is going to pledge to his Kickstarter. It's just going to happen. So we all can't do that, and every time it happens, I'm just amazed at just the sheer support, the loyalty of his fan base. You know, I think we all aspire to have that kind of support that's not just verbal but financial.
Yeah, I think we all aspire to have that.
Oh yeah. One day, I think I'm gonna do a Kickstarter under the alias of Sebastian Jones with my picture on there.
Hey, I don't think that'll be a wrong move.
Let's see if that works. Maybe it'll be too late before they realize it.
Thank you, LaShawn. She said she pledged the Kickstarter. I've been waiting on your book. It looks beautiful.
Well, thank you, LaShawn. I appreciate that. And as I said, we are slowly but surely getting to this finish line, and that book will be in your hand.
Paige wants you to get into LaShawn's store. You know she got a store in Alabama, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm actually planning a road trip up there with some of the guys. We couldn't make it initially for the opening, but I'm planning a road trip up there with some of the guys. We're gonna do our own march to Alabama from Florida.
Okay. All right. I hear that.
Yeah, it's right across the state line, and for us, it would be awesome to visit a store, to have a store like that here in the South. Because I'm in Florida, she's in Alabama, so to have a store like that here in the South, that's a big thing.
Right.
So yeah, we're definitely going to show our support for that. And I'm checking out this drawing, man. You got the skills with these pencils. But this is why I was introduced to you some time ago. Got a chance to talk with you. And when I saw Hot Shot for the first time, I was like, man, I got to get this book. And you know yourself, I got them all. So
yeah.
Just to see the style, when you told me you wrote the last issue, I'm like, okay, Mike is just Mr. Everything now. And it was good. It was good. The writing was very solid. I was very happy with it. I'm looking forward to the next issue. I mean, I think once again, something that we as independent creators aspire to is to make it to an issue 11.
Mm-hmm.
You know, sometimes we can't get past issue 1, or we kind of fade out after issue 2 or 3. But to have a character, to have that support where, you know, you work on issue 11, that is inspiration.
Well, thank you, sir. I've got all these, including yourself, badass creators out here, uh, continuing to inspire and drive me to try to push that. So it's all in part to what you guys are doing out here, because I see y'all's work and I'm like, man, that's dope. Like I want, I get inspired, I get pushed by, or I'll see something and I'm like, yeah, I could do that too, man. Let me get out here. Let me see let me dust this pencil off, see what we can get out here as well. But it's always a drive to push to, be better and get your content out here.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. And I honestly believe that we are in the perfect time for independent creators such as ourselves and everyone else out there to take advantage of the opportunities that are out there. We're at a point where we're able to get content out on a bigger platform than ever before.
Right.
So, and these places are looking for content. They're looking for fresh, new stuff. They're looking for creators like you and Hotshot, to expose to everybody and say, "Hey, look what we have. Look what I got."
Right. But it's great, when you are seeing people like a LaShawn Colvin come through and have been working on their comic book year after year, and you've seen her toil and grind and stuff, and then all of a sudden she's opened up a venue of a comic book store, and that comic book store features indie comics, and it happens to be that indie comics are the number one selling thing at her store.
Exactly. I mean, and like I said, giving props to LaShawn and all the other creators out there that I know you're familiar with and I'm familiar with, that have stuck with their projects, that have stuck things out. I believe we all have hit that wall before, so it's not uncommon. The uncommon thing is to lay there. You hit that wall, you got to get up, because this may not be the only wall. So,
yeah. My favorite speech is Rocky. In Rocky 6 to his son, about life is about how hard you can get hit, fall down, and get back up and keep going. Like, that's when like Rocky has a way of, the people that write for Rocky,
yeah.
They have a way of just making everything he says so simple but impactful, and like that, that is the core of life, how hard you can get hit and keep going.
Yep. And also, since you're bringing up Rocky, my favorite inspirational moment from Rocky is when Carl Weathers takes him into the gym to train after he lost to Mr. T.
Mm-hmm.
And he takes him in the gym and he tells him, look at these guys, look in their eyes, they are hungry. And that's actually how I have been in my approach to this comic book business. I'm hungry.
Okay.
I'm not going to be complacent. I had a book that was nominated, and I'm proud of that book. But that's not going to be the end all, be all of Marcus Roberts' comic book career.
Okay. Right.
I am hungry. I want to be able to provide all kind of content for people, which is one of the reasons why I joined Second Sight Publishing. Shout out to Bradley Golden, CEO. If I don't say anything about him, he'll fire me. So, hey Bradley, I mentioned your name. Now, can I keep my job? But anyway, at Second Sight, we are a independent creator-driven company. We are there for independent creators because we know there are guys out there who are hungry, that they put in the work and they have the stuff. They just need the chance.
Mm-hmm.
So we're happy to be able to provide that chance, that opportunity for independent creators.
Go ahead, talk to them now. Let them know. Shoot.
Hey, because once again, like we said, we are a community. We're all in this together. We all have the same struggles. We all have some of the same heartaches and heartbreaks when it comes to the comic book industry. We're more alike than anything else. So since we are kindred, we need to come together and support each other in as bigger ways as we can.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it be exposure or whether it be as you do now with almost 100 shows in the chat and draw. Yeah, yeah. This is because this is big. It really is. You giving independent creators the opportunity to come and not only talk about their upcoming projects or their books, but actually giving people the opportunity to look these people in the face, look at them, hear them talk, hear them speak, and see that, hey, this is a real person. This is not, it's not some guy out there that is getting paid $100,000 a year to write a comic book. This is a
Right.
real guy who's out here, who's hungry, as I said, and trying to make it.
See, man, that's another thing I like about being on this show. It's always a challenge when I'm coming on because most of the time I'm drawing a character I'm not familiar with. I'm getting to know these characters. And as you know, I've drawn this like 3 or 4 times already. And it's literally the conversation and speaking with you that helps to start to shape the character and bring it to life. And just like I've been all over your Kickstarter page. And the protector, it's branded everywhere. It says that, and I get that, but it just didn't hit for me until you explained the protector. like I get what it's supposed to be, but it didn't hit until you started talking about the protector and what's going on behind it and what goes into it.
Yeah, it is. In the first issue, what I thought was poetic, I guess. There's something I used to tell my son when he was young about thinking that he was bad. He was the baddest thing walking out there. And I used to tell him, you got to be careful because there's somebody out there that's badder than you, and they're gonna want you to prove it. They're gonna want you to pay some penance for your actions. So that was something that stuck with me as well in creating the protector. That he was someone, as I said, who is protecting this big metropolis, and he is not like sending you to the police. Yeah. He is protecting it. He is out there making sure the streets are safe for the citizens who have come together under the umbrella and safety of the Earth Mother in the city of Oswald. Mm-hmm. He's taking care of all the threats, no matter what the threat may be.
Okay. And speak of the devil, there's Sean Mack right there with his comment. Coming in the building. Mr. Miyagi gave the best inspirational speeches. Just saying.
Now, Sean and I, when it comes to the business of comic books, he and I and our discussions, he is so enlightening. I look forward to seeing what he's saying because he's speaking from a business sense. And one thing I realized when I entered comics was we had a lot of guys that could draw and a lot of guys that could write, but we didn't have a lot of guys that had business acumen. And just that's one thing I appreciate and respect about Sean is his business acumen. He has business acumen. He is somebody that he knows what he's talking about when it comes to the business of comics. And he doesn't have to brag about it. You look at what Short Fuse is doing, and he's proving it. So, I'm waiting on an inspirational post, Sean. I need to know something about custom tagging and analytics involved in the Kickstarter. Get on that for a brother.
Brad said I was going to back off a little from backing Kickstarters for a while, but Mr. Roberts is an inspiring man. So thank you for that, Brad.
Yeah, thank you, Brad. I appreciate that. I
Brad is
really do.
Brad is a connoisseur of the indie comics.
Oh well, you definitely were going to enjoy this. One thing that I did is, as much as I loved my first artist and the painted art style, with this issue it's a change. I went more traditional. Christian Surratt and the Ninth Art Production team, I mean, they are really, really knocking this out. And I made the mistake the first time of trying to be my own editor.
Mm-hmm.
And I would read the pages and the art would come in and I would be so astounded by the art I'd forget to edit. So
Hey.
I am not editing this because the art is just, I mean, it's coming in so strong. The art is so beautiful that I'm lost in the art. Like I wouldn't be no good trying to read this stuff.
Hey, we've all fallen prey to that.
I call it my moment of transparency when I talk about the first issue of The Protector.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, yeah, you might see a typo here, but it's a reason for that. Don't read the words, look at the art. You'll forget about it.
Awesome. And thank you, Jay, man. I appreciate that very much, man. That's a big up compliment. Thank you so much. Sean Mack said, thanks for the kind words. We got a lot of activity in here tonight. Trying to bring it with The Protector, man. I want him to like he's in the midst of doing some serious ass protecting right now.
And that was one thing about him as far as his power set. He doesn't have a specific power set. Mm-hmm. He is what I need him to be or what he needs to be in order to protect.
Okay, yeah. I feel that.
So by leaving it open like that, there are no limits
to what your man can do.
Exactly. So that also means, as far as a creative artist such as yourself is concerned, you're only limited by your imagination as to how you draw him and what you do with him. I have artist envy. I can't draw.
Okay.
For real. When I took art in school, my drawings were so bad, the teacher told me, hey, just mix paint.
Oh, so no.
I mixed the paint in the back. Hey, no. I can mix some colors now. Hey, I can make some colors sparkle. Can't draw worth a damn. So I have artist envy. And having this artist envy, it really gave me a big appreciation for art, for the skill of it. And in appreciating that skill, I like to see artists be creative. You know, that instead of limiting them to something that's cookie cutter or cardboard, it's like, you know, use your imagination, bring it.
Well, I think that's the I think that's the definition of this show. So I try to bring it every week.
And you have brought it now. Look. Even when I hadn't been able to tune in, I still see the finished product afterwards. So believe me, you have brought it. As a matter of fact, I'm going to throw this out here to you on live air. You need to collect these books, man, and print it. Make some the chat and draw portfolio of these drawings and characters.
Well, actually, that is what we're doing. They are the images are being colored right now by Veronica Smith. I actually got my intern, or she used to be my intern before she graduated CCAD, and I had her lay out the graphic design elements of it, the pages and stuff. Veronica's coloring it, and right now, you know, with the content that I'm doing right now, we have enough for 3 volumes. I'm just trying to stack it all up so it can just come out one after the other. I really want my plate to start to overflow with content. So I'll drop a book, and you know, about 5 or 6 months later, I drop another book. Like, I want to keep the content coming. So So definitely ahead of you on that. So,
Yeah, I definitely will be looking forward to seeing this. You got the skills, man,
hey man, I
and,
appreciate it very much. So,
and that doesn't hurt. That doesn't hurt at all.
but yeah, this guy is very appealing to draw. I'm loving I'm loving the look of him. There's a lot of it's a lot of texture to him, a lot of different things you can play around with here.
Yeah, because the character in itself doesn't get the description of like super meta or anything like that. Yeah, and because of that, you can draw him without having to, put it in the confines of a superhero-looking character.
Mm-hmm.
You can draw him to look like you or me because he is ultimately the protector, and his power base is whatever he needs to protect, whatever he needs to use to protect, whether it's fighting skills, whether it's invulnerability or something of that nature. He doesn't need the descriptor of super, or meta, or mutant, or anything of that nature.
Right. I like that. So he can rise. And so obviously, this being first volume 1 and volume 2, we're saying here, right?
Yes.
All right. So it gives plenty of opportunity to show him at varying levels, and to really push him in task. And I would imagine it gives you great growth scenes where you can put him in a situation where it's like, oh, well, we just saw his limit, and then you're like, no, you haven't.
Exactly. Well, one of my favorite scenes from issue 1 is where when the colonizers start coming to the continent, and they start gathering people and imprisoning people, and Dumbara comes in. The protector's name is Dumbara. Dumbara comes in and warns them that they need to leave, and instead of them heeding, he's shot and thrown out in the jungle, only to come back with the animals of the jungle to run the colonizers away from the village.
Oh, is that the one where all the animals' eyes are glowing? And he's like, the time is, yeah, man, yeah. Oh, you got a question from Paige. What indie comics are you reading right now?
What am I reading right now? I just finished The Hated. Let me tell you, the Western, man, David Walker and The Hated, that was off the chain. I just finished up reading The Gentleman, like maybe a week ago. Finally got my couple of issues in, and I dug into that. By trade, I'm a horror writer, so I'm always picking up horror books. Kenneth Brown's Judas Breed, man, that's top notch. I really like that book. And then I actually finally cracked open the second volume of Bitter Root. So I keep a lot of books on my plate, and I bounce back and forth. I'm even in the process of reading the Spawn Origins.
Okay.
So, and like I said, a comic book fan, I've had this love affair with comic books all my life. And even though I do read stuff other than comic books is pretty much all I read.
Well, ain't nothing wrong with that.
Well, let me get a little nerdy about it. When my son was in elementary school, and here in Florida, they used to give this test, and the standardized test that scored your reading levels. And he initially was like at a 2.75. So I gave him a comic book. And like that next year when he tested, he went up a whole point. He was at a 3.75. Gave him more comic books, and he moved eventually to chapter books. He actually, before he watched Star Wars: The Clone Wars, he actually read the books, the chapter books.
Mm-hmm.
So that next year, which going into fifth grade, by the time he was tested, he was reading on a high school level.
Okay.
But it was comic books. And once again, I say I'm a generational reader because of my love for comic books. My parents' biggest way of punishing me was to take my comic books.
Mm-hmm.
So my mother would give me a thesaurus or give me the dictionary. And she said, you read these and I'll give you back your comic books. So I ended up reading a couple of thesauruses and reading a few dictionaries, encyclopedia from A to the credits because I had to have my comic books. Now, both my parents are teachers. So for them, that was their way of getting me to read something else and increase my reading skills. But for me, it was just a way of getting my comic books back.
Right.
And now as an adult and being able, once again, being generational, seeing the benefit of comic books and how it helped me read and doing that with my son, there is that big benefit from it. The whole reason why now we have the STEM comic books, because we, as we move on in education, we realize that the materials like comic books are just as easy to put in the classroom, and kids can learn from them just as well as they can a regular school book.
This is Derek Jefferson wants to join in the chat.
Derek Jefferson, the homeless homeboy.
This show's been okay. All right, see you, Andy, man. I'm sorry if I missed you. And James, the first time you see me use the color red. Yeah, I've been the last few episodes I've been drawing in different colors. I'm like, I'm on an iPad digitally. I don't have to stay with blue. But it's definitely been some fun here. So we got the layout. We got the layout for your boy, the Protector, right there. And I went no shoes, man. I went no shoes on him on this.
That's okay, because on the cover for the book, he has no shoes on as well.
Yeah, I saw that once, but then all the other ones I saw him with shoes. So I was shooting my shot here, and anything.
Artist interpretation, man. Artist interpretation. That's what happens when you don't tell them, look, I need shoes on. It's like, draw the character how you're feeling the character, and you feeling them without no shoes. So I have no problem with that. Just don't make them paratoad.
All right, I'll be sure not to do that. But yeah, so this has been kind of fun. I try to with respect to the person's character, obviously, and want to bring the best version of them that I can to the show. I try to put the characters in poses or things that challenge me as an artist. Something I don't get to draw a lot of is feet, and I've been trying to push myself to have circumstances where I am drawing more feet or whatnot.
Yeah, well, Hot Shot always has those fancy boots on. So
he does.
I'll tell you that the first time I saw that character, I don't know if it was just how strongly that H stood out on the costume or the name itself, but I really gravitated toward that from the first time I saw it.
All right. Did you know Derek Jefferson? Did you want him to be on the episode with you?
I'm just familiar with his name and his book.
Oh, okay. I see. I think I'm. I see what's going on. This is another reference from Brad. I believe so. So all right, I got you. I think you want me to send you links so you can get on to the show. I can do that. No problem. No problem. All right.
Not get on the show, but get on to the show.
On to the show. Yes. Sometimes when I'm multitasking, carrying a conversation and reading and drawing, I miss the message sometimes. Ooh, but I do love drawing hands, though. I don't draw a lot of feet, but I love drawing hands, Marcus.
I'm checking it out. I'm sitting here. I hope everybody doesn't mind me with my mouth just hanging open because I'm like watching him draw this and I'm like in awe because this is coming out very nicely.
Oh, also, while we're here, you guys need to go check out this man's Kickstarter. Yeah. I'm drawing this character. Oh, wait. I'm drawing this character for this Kickstarter. Go check out this Kickstarter. Go pledge this Kickstarter. He's only got 7 days left. Help bring this to life right here. I just put the link in there for you. J-Man said, Mike, Rob Liefeld can't draw hands or feet to save his life. Thank God and baby Jesus you can.
Now that's funny.
Well,
but hey, people still buying this stuff, man. It's like you can't knock the hustle.
You cannot knock the hustle. Like, I am not a fan of Rob Liefeld's art, but I respect what Rob Liefeld has done for the comic book game as a whole. So can't knock him for that at all.
Yep. And I guess he says, hey, you all have been loving my no hands, no feet drawing self all this time. Why change?
Right. Paige says, what are you looking for from the next convention?
Alfred Page and conventions. If anybody knows Alfred Page, I've seen him in action at conventions. It is a sight to see because this man brings back the memory of your show masters. He commands attention, and it's funny to see how people gravitate to his table. He and I share tables at conventions all the time. And I'll be sitting there talking to somebody, but they'll be looking at his book. And I'm like, hey, okay, my stuff is over here. Or in order for me to sell a book, I have to tell them about Page's book first. And I know he's going to get me for that. But yeah, over the last year, we're coming up, I guess, on 2 years now. Page and I have been doing these conventions. We've been hanging out. We've been talking, and he is a real fun guy to be around.
I believe it. He's got good times online too, so I can only imagine how he is in person.
He is hilarious. When I say he is hilarious, he is hilarious. But he is like the ultimate salesman. I believe he can sell water to the ocean. I'm doing the cons with him, and he almost had me buying his books. I sell a book and give him the money because of his salesman skills. But he's a fun guy to be around. And when convention season does come back, we're looking forward to that because as I mentioned, here in Florida, there's a whole gang load of conventions. So you get a chance to see some of your friends like 3 or 4 times a month.
Right.
So you build camaraderie. For example, Jonathan Hedrick. I met Jonathan like at the Lakeland Con, or I think we met at the Southwest Florida Con. Anyway, it's like, hey, I've seen you, didn't get a chance to meet you, got a chance to read over his stuff, and now through Second Sight, we're publishing one of his comic books, actually, the entitled Freak Show Night. That'll be in the February previews, I believe.
All right.
And then with Mississippi Zombie, uh, got a chance to. Well, I've known Travis Gibb for a while.
Uh-huh.
Travis was one of the first people I met when I started doing conventions. So have an opportunity to talk with Travis and like, hey Travis, you do horror? And Travis said, man, I'll write anything. So I was able to get a story of Travis's in Mississippi Zombie,
All
along
right.
with Jonathan and Page, Alfred Page. As I said, we here in Florida, we have a very strong independent comic book community. And the con promoters actually give us a lot of support.
Mm-hmm.
So we always make sure we try to have a good show for them. Yeah, they have our back, so we try to have theirs.
That's what's up. Oh no, let's bring it back. Come on. Trying to really bring this dude to life here.
Oh yeah, and you're doing it.
What's up?
See, if I could draw like this, man, I don't know. I'd probably have the big head or something. But but if I could draw like this, I think as far as producing books, I would really have some books out. But at the
Man,
same time, I'm writing, so that may not be true.
it's a curse, man.
How so? Tell us about that, Michael.
Because man, you if you can draw, you're fated with this weight of having to do something with it. It's constant pressure all the time. Thank you, Squatting Bear.
Now, I can say that about writing as well, though, because I talk about my love affair with comics. I have always written. I have always been writing something, and I got to a point where you know I had to do something, whether I'm offering to write someone's menus or their biography. I'm a certified grant writer. I
Mm-hmm.
write business plans.
Okay.
I've written technical manuals. I write like half pen will write. So uh, I learned how to write comic book scripts from the back of a comic book.
Okay.
It was a challenge for me as a writer to learn how to write a comic book script.
Mm-hmm.
And I worked at it for probably about 8 months before I actually had a script that I could call decent. And it was probably another 6 months after that before I had something that I didn't mind showing people.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, after almost a year and a half of just practice, and working on format, things of that nature, I came up with a script. And guess what that script was?
Go ahead, let us know.
The Protector. Yeah, I learned how to write comic book scripts so I could write this script.
And you said this is a project 50 years in the making.
50 years in the making. I've had this character in my mind.
How does that feel?
It feels good. When Meku started doing the character designs and I started seeing it come to life, I started feeling, getting goosebumps then. But when she did the first page,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw like my character, this character I've been thinking of essentially all my life, on the page of a comic book. Like I could have died and gone to heaven right then.
Uh-huh.
And it's like I have accomplished something. But that's really where things kicked in. That's really where I said to myself, okay, what am I going to do as far as comic books? Is this a one and done? Am I satisfied with doing this? And the answer was no.
Okay.
So
Clear and presently.
it was okay. Well, you're going to have to work. You're gonna have to
Mhm.
work and show yourself approved so that you can put a product out here that people are going to buy. And I would write in anybody's comic book who would let me, just so I could get that skill.
Mhm. And
As a,
go ahead.
because as I said, I'm hungry, man. It's like I got a taste of it, and I didn't want to stop.
All right. So, how does the association with Black Heroes come in?
The association with Black Heroes comes in, and that when I first talked with Ryan Frazier, I was actually, when we're talking 2011, I was going through the web and I came across the website, and I was seeing all these Black heroes, and I was like, wow. And I knew some heroes that from comic books that I had read that weren't on the website. So I contacted Ryan and we talked about it, and he said, "Well, look, why don't you do some research on the characters, write up the biography, and send it to me, and let's see how that goes." And that was the start of my apprenticeship. For the longest, I would just research characters, write character biographies, and submit that to him.
Mhm.
But then one day in a discussion, he said, "You know what? I want to start writing articles." And I'm like, "Okay, now this is up my alley."
Mhm.
So I started writing articles for the website, and through writing articles, the website, The World of Black Heroes, has always been for heroes of color, not just mainstream, but independent heroes of color as well.
Okay. Right.
So,
Right.
and talking with Ryan, Ryan says, "Okay, well, let's do more independent stuff," and that's when we started the Meet the Independents interview series, uh,
Mhm.
which you were a part of as
Yes,
well.
sir. Thank you very much.
And that gave me the opportunity to reach out to independent creators and get to meet them and talk with them, which and talking with those creators and having this love affair with comics that I had, that only served as a spark, because
Mhm.
I realized in talking to these guys, a lot of it was them shedding the fear and doing it. Just do it.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what, I'm going to do this. So I took to trying to do it. And we were talking about earlier, talking about inspirational quotes. My favorite inspirational quote is, and I still say this to this day: "Stop acting like you don't know what you're doing and write."
Mm. Okay.
So, operating under that guise, uh, that's what I do. That's my approach. I've, like I said, I studied, I've practiced, I know what I'm doing. So now, do it.
Okay.
Just
Just do it.
uh, and as complicated as it may seem, it really is that easy.
Mhm.
Just do it. Because you are going to have pitfalls, you're going to have obstacles, you're going to have to build up your brand, you're going to have to build up your name. These are things that every person has to do. Even the most famous person had to build from somewhere.
Right.
So you can't be afraid of the process. You just work the process.
Mhm.
So yeah, you shed that fear and just do it. Man, this is looking good.
Thank you. Instead, I think having the best for me, the best aspect of doing the show is having the conversation with the creator. I think, like as you're talking about the character, it really does help breathe life in the character. Besides just looking at the reference, or reading that script. I'm talking to you live because like subconsciously, I'm making adjustments to it, like really based off of how you're talking about it.
Well, I believe that we all play a role similar to the protector when it comes to house, when it comes to home and family,
Hmm.
when it comes to friends. We have a dedication, uh, a undying loyalty to ensure that it's protected, and we will use whatever means, we will do whatever is necessary to ensure that you know people are protected, that things are safe. I'm a husband and father, so I think of terms of guarding, safeguarding my family and things of that nature, being their protector. So to envision this character would be also to put traits that I possess right now into it.
Hmm.
I think that also helped to that helped to write the scripts as well. I can literally say, well, what would you do? What would I do? What links would I go to? That type of thing.
Right.
And
Uh-huh.
then being the type of person that I am a admirer of history.
Hmm.
So in the first issue, I did put little historical nods in the book. Like I said, mentioning the colonizers coming to the continent
Hmm.
and how it was dealt with from his village. One thing that I purposely did, or at least tried to do, was not give people the impression that this was another Wakanda,
Hmm.
because it's not. This character is not a Black Panther wannabe.
Hmm.
This is an original character. His village is not Wakanda. The character himself is not the king or the religious icon of this village. The village is not xenophobic in that it doesn't associate with any other villages.
Hmm.
I've made sure to have those differences.
Yeah, let me hit. Thanks, Paige. Everybody, check out the Kickstarter. Here's the link again. Uh, I mean, this character is pretty beastly, man. I'm having a great time drawing him, and hearing about him live right now. Um, yeah, I think we just got a backer on there. I think we're at 94. Now I got 95. $2,402 now.
All right. Well, we appreciate it, everyone, and keep those pledges coming.
Yeah, yeah. So that's that must be you spoke on that for a little bit here before I interrupted you, but that's got to be a hard challenge. With Black Panther being the thing that it is, it's been around for a while, but then it blew up to new levels with that movie coming out, and you could easily be hit with that. Oh, that's just another Black Panther. So, can you tell us any distinct differences here that you embedded into this character?
One of the biggest differences is for those who are familiar with this genre, this character lies in what's called Sword and Soul. The Sword and Soul genre is basically stories set within the African continent that are fantasy stories.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the Black Panther is a straight up and down superhero story. He was written to be a superhero.
Mm-hmm.
My character is not written to be a superhero.
Okay.
He does heroic acts, but he acts in service of his village and entirely, strictly for his village. He's not going to be going off in space with the rest of the protector crew. or anything like that. And then, like I said, it's the notion of the xenophobia, wherein the Wakandans didn't associate with anyone outside of Wakanda. They remained isolated.
Mm-hmm.
The village of Answa starts out as something totally different, and over the years, as it grows, it starts swallowing up other villages. Other tribes come into the village because they are weaker,
Mm-hmm.
or they seek protection from a bigger village, and that's how the village grows and continues to grow.
Okay. Then just
Uh,
quick, I don't. We're just talking about the Protector. We've gotten pretty deep on him tonight. Talking about a 50-year journey with the comic book that's on Kickstarter right now. About a little over $1,000 away from their goal in 7 days to hit. So check it out. Uh, this is my version of the character.
and I am enjoying watching you draw. Now, one thing about the staff and the design of the staff, even though I changed artists and production teams, we kept the design of the staff the same.
Uh-huh.
The artist Meku, she painstakingly designed that staff,
Okay.
and even with this issue, uh, I have her ultimate respect because she came to me and she said, "Look, I read the script and I think you need to find artists that can give this the power that it deserves." She didn't feel like she could really do the script justice, but I made sure, even if I changed artists, there were things that I would keep the same, like her design of the character and specifically her design of the staff. Because as I said, when she designed this thing, when she brought this thing to life for me, it was like I could have died and gone to heaven then. For her to read what I had written and to come back with the artistic rendering of it, it was just breathtaking. So I wanted to make sure that I stayed true to her interpretation of my creation.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's only right.
I dig it. I dig it very much.
Well, it's like even if she didn't actually do anything, a piece of her is still carried over into it.
Right. I respected that.
Oh yeah, and she knows that I tell her all the time. She has my ultimate respect. She actually is my editor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, if you're not gonna draw, you're gonna do something. So she is the editor of the book.
So buckle up. You ain't going nowhere. You thought you was leaving?
Exactly. I told her you can't get rid of me that easily. It just ain't gonna happen. Wow, Mike, this is looking good, man. Like you got 3 or 4 more lines to do and you're done.
Almost there. Yeah. Thank you very much, man. I'm glad. That's like I said. That's my goal and objective to uh satisfy the creator of the character. I want it to look good. I want you to be happy with it.
Yeah, couldn't look any better if I drew it myself. Like when I dream about me drawing, this is how it looks.
This is how it looks. That's a compliment, sir.
This is awesome, and once again, I really appreciate you having me here on the show. sharing me with your audience, sharing your audience with me. I I hope that they got a better understanding of my book, better understanding of me as a creator and as a person.
I hope so too as well. I appreciate your patience. I know we had that scheduling mix up, so I appreciate your patience very much throughout that.
Oh man, I was not worried about it. I was more so like, okay, I think Mike is really busy. I might need to remind him.
Hey, and I'm glad you did because I was under the impression it was later this month that we were doing yours, and I got you mixed up with somebody else's.
Yeah, because it was funny once the original date hit and I didn't see anything. It's like I know Mike didn't forget. I know Mike didn't forget me,
Mike forgot.
but it's all good.
Hey, but like I said, really appreciate your patience and understanding. This show kind of is taking a life of its own.
As well it should because it, like I said, having an opportunity as an independent creator to sit down and talk about my IP, talk about me and my beginnings. This is
Mm,
something you don't get ordinarily. So just the fact that it's available and I can take advantage of it is a big thing. And then add in the fact that this is Mike Watson. This Mike Watson, y'all. Like uh I know how many years you've been in the game. I know how many years you've been at this, and I have a ton of respect for it. It's
thank
like I'm aspiring to have that type of longevity myself.
you. Hmm.
So yeah, that Mike Watson, y'all, give it up.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I for sure am having a blast with it. And I think uh, all the experiences that I have, I'm like really rounding out to be the comic artist that I want to be.
Well, that's great. It's great to get to that point. Like, yeah, not so much all the way where you want to be, but you can see that light at the end of the tunnel, and you know what your goal is.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I was doing incorrectly, and not like everybody makes their mistakes and have their f ups and stuff like that. But there's just a lot of things that I didn't know that I should be doing, or a lot of ways that I didn't know I should be. What up, Ryan? That I didn't know in which ways I should be moving and shaking within the indie community and really pressing forward. And my relationship with my brothers, them being people that have been with me for a very long time. We've been, colleagues, friends, brothers, family, and all that stuff. And then, joining up with Short Fuse and then clicking with Sean. Like Sean is considered, I consider Sean one of my brothers, and that we've just done so much stuff uh, together, like that he's hit me this or changed how I looked at things like this. I call him Sean Numbers Max. So, I'm always looking at the numbers. Victor is always challenging me. Like he's never. I don't think he's ever going to be satisfied where I'm at. He's always going to find a way to push me. Like I can do 9 things right, but that 10th thing, Victor's going to say there's something wrong with that 10th thing. That 10th thing you not looking at right, and he'll keep pushing me. Ren with his vicious critiques on my artwork. Ren does not look for what I do good; he looks for what is bad, and and he points them out. Not to be mean, not to be a jerk, but to push me so very much. And Danny Cooper, that man is just he's just challenging. Like when we are editing and working on books and working on our story and working on the art together, he's always thinking of how this can be improved. Like what's the benefit is the story. A good story is always what you want. And what do we have to do to get to that good story? And like the hours that is put in and stuff, when you start to unite with people like that, man, like your perspective on things and the way that you move and shake and changes.
Oh yeah, it definitely does, and I think that is important. Uh, some years ago, I used to teach a class called Group Dynamics, and in Group Dynamics, you learn how to take on several different personalities and make them work to move toward accomplishing a single goal.
Hmm.
And you learn that some of these personalities that you thought might be irritating, that you didn't need or didn't want around you when you're moving toward that goal, you need that
Hmm.
because of what they actually bring to the table that you don't. Uh,
Yeah.
you need a person that is, like you said, that's looking for the bad, because scientifically speaking, to prove something is right, you have to prove that it can't be wrong.
Yeah.
So you need somebody that's looking for the wrong in order to bring the right out. You need somebody that's that taskmaster. You know, you need to have more than just yes people around you in order to
Absolutely.
succeed.
Absolutely. And you got a couple questions here. Paige says, first question. Outside the projector, what other projects do you have going on for 2021?
Well, uh, because of the role that I have taken with Second Sight as the COO, which I guess I neglected to mention that I'm the COO with Second Sight Publishing. Uh,
Congratulations.
thank you. My project list is kind of limited. I do have more of the Protector coming out, but also Mississippi Zombie, which from Second Sight we published through Caliber Comics.
Hmm.
We're rolling with that. We actually signed a multi-year deal with Caliber to produce
Okay.
this book, and this book is we constantly ask for submissions from independent creators for this book because we feel like it's an opportunity for an independent creator that's interested in writing horror to get a shot. We also have another anthology book coming from Caliber called Second Sight Comics. Second Sight Publishing presents The Harvest of Horror. Once
Hmm.
again, uh, these anthology books are designed for independent creators who are looking to get exposure, who have short horror stories that are interested in submitting. Uh, and then sooner or later, I'm going to be writing on, going to be doing the Leave on the Light series. We are trying to get everything else out in the company before we actually dive into that. So that might be the end of 2021. And then I have a couple of people that I've spoken with about different things that is going to surprise some of you for next year.
Okay.
Let's just say uh, what you're seeing now from the sword and soul genre in comics is only going to get better.
All right. And then you got, what is the scope of this character strength? What is the scope of this character's strength? And is there anybody who can beat them?
Well, the scope of the character's strength is undetermined because uh, he has yet to face a challenge where his strength needs to be shown in that manner. And can anybody beat him? Yeah. I think even though we're talking about comic books and fantasy and whatnot, it's just unrealistic to have a character that can't be beat.
Yeah.
Like that's what kind of fun is that? So yeah, he can be beaten. And just like Mike was talking about Rocky and the speech, it's not about getting knocked down; it's about getting back up. Yeah, that because he can be defeated, being able to show that fortitude when he bounces back only adds depth to him as a character.
All right. Ryan, we already said what's up. I'm just trying to make sure I get these questions. Squat and Bear wants to know what powers does this character have?
Well, the character is mythical.
Mhm.
Uh, and the character's backstory reads that he brought shame to his village, and he was the greatest warrior of the village. And this was during a time when the villagers stopped doing war. They stopped going to war, and instead their conflicts were decided by tribal champions. And he killed a person in the ring, and that brought shame to his village. The village exiled him. They stripped him, they beat him, and sent him into the forest. And as he lay on the forest floor dying, he repented for bringing shame to his village and asked the village deity, the Earth Mother, if she would grant him to be the eternal protector of the village. The Earth Mother, in turn, heard this and granted his wish. Him being a mythical character, uh, he technically has no limits
Mhm.
because he draws from magic and draws from the divine power of the deity of the village. Uh, but as I said, what kind of fun is it to have a omnipotent character like that? So he does have flaws, he does have weaknesses, and as the series goes on, it will be explored and even exposed.
All right. And Paige wants to know, will you be adding this drawing as a reward to your Kickstarter?
That's a good question, Paige. Yes.
Mhm.
For all backers, once we fund, we will definitely get this out to you see how it started and the changes. Anyway, you will be getting a copy of this, the Chat and Draw Protector image.
Yeah, this one was real fun, man. Like, I love trying to solve the problem of how I'm going to do the piece, and I'm glad I didn't stick with what I did with the first couple drawings and kept pushing through.
Yeah, because I mean, I see the change. I saw how it started out. He was actually facing the other direction,
Hmm.
and then, like you said, as we talked, uh, you just started drawing. You just let it flow, and
Yeah,
this is what it came to.
it was a fun one. Definitely getting added to the book. Well, all of them are, and but I just have some. It's just fun getting to try to solve these. I call them problems of getting familiar with a character, because again, this is my first coming across of him, trying to draw him. And most artists, you prefer to do sketches and roughs and like get really familiar with it so you can really play with it. And I just had today.
Well, you dove right in, man. I mean, that if I didn't know this was your first time drawing them, I would not have guessed that that was your first time drawing them because you drew him so precise. You drew him powerful. I mean, yeah, you're awesome, dude.
Well, thank you very much, sir. I appreciate it. We're going to get that Kickstarter link in here one more time. Marcus, if you want to tell everybody where they can find you at on social media and stuff like that.
Well, I'm on Facebook, Marcus H. Roberts. You can find the Protector on Facebook at Sword and Soul. I'm on Twitter, Marcus H. Roberts 1, and that's it on social media.
All right.
I'm an old guy, so I hadn't gravitated to some of these other platforms yet, but I'm getting there. I'm getting
Right,
there.
right. I dig it. Oh shoot. my editorial team, my production team, we got our first bot in here on Twitch. So this comes up like every half an hour on Twitch, telling them to go buy my shirts.
Wow.
That's awesome. This is a fun piece, man. I'm gonna get this over to you through Google Drive or whatnot. I want to thank you for coming out to the show tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Had a blast with you. Great conversation. Great character. Good story. I hope people pledge to it. That link is in there. So please go check it out. There's several ways you can help with a Kickstarter. I'm a huge advocate of this. And number one, pledge. Find a level tier that you want and you pledge to it. Secondly, $1. $1 does not hurt. If you're tight for funds and all you got is $1 to give, $1 is great. Just a couple months ago, I did a FSK Dollar-thon day where we did a fundraiser asking for dollar donations, and we raised $803 in one day. It was a 12-hour day, but we raised $803. So every bit does help and count, and we're not going to turn away from that. And finally, if you don't have any money, and that is perfectly fine. Times are hard. We are in quarantine, a COVID situation going on. But we ask, share us. Share the Kickstarter. Pass this on to other people. Let them see it. Even if it may not be something that you're necessarily into, somebody in your circle and your friends or your family within your audience may dig it. It may be the thing for them. And that's what we're trying to find. We're trying to find the people that want our content. And the only way we can do that is with you and helping to spread the word. So I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. If you enjoyed today's episode, please go check me out. I've done this thing called branding, and as you can see up above, it's Most Epic Art on Instagram, Twitter, Patreon, TikTok, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Subscribe to my channels. You can like or dislike them. I don't care. I just want to have the conversation. And disliking conversations are generally more fun and exciting. I just scored affiliate status on Twitch, so use your Amazon Prime account to give me the subscription, because it costs you nothing because you have Amazon Prime. Just give me the subscription for Amazon Prime, and I will continue to entertain you. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Oh, wait, one last question. Paige wants to know if you had to play choice, would you put Protector in Marvel or DC?
Neither.
I knew he was going to say that. Hey, you guys all have a good night.